All right, in this video, we'll be looking at the function of the small intestines as they do a bulk of the digestion and absorption in the digestive system. They are the major organ, again, for digestion and absorption. They are approximately 2 to 4 meters long, all the way up here from the pyloric sphincter, which is the part of the stomach that keeps stuff from going into the small intestines, all the way down to where it joins with the large intestine, which is called the ileocecal valve. And the diameter is about 1 to 1.5 inches, so not as big as you might think. Go back here real quick to look at some subdivisions of the small intestines. There are 3: the duodenum, which is this first section of the small intestines, and there is the jejunum, which is this middle section of the small intestines, and then you have the ileum, which is the part that joins to the large intestines, the kind of the second half of the small intestine. Some different things that are going on as far as microscopically in the small intestines. There are a lot of modifications to the small intestines to give them lots and lots of surface area. And you've heard all of the people talk about the surface area of the small intestines since you were first being told about the small intestines. I've heard claims from students that they had a teacher tell them that it's as big as a football field, or silly things. It's actually really big, not quite as big as a football field, but if you were to stretch out the surface area of the insides of the small intestines, it would be about the size of a tennis court, and it all fits inside of your guts. And so their purpose behind that is to provide lots of surface area for digestion and absorption. And so let's look at some of those modifications that are made here. First, you see macroscopically just these folds that are in the small intestines called circular folds. And they actually kind of do a couple things. Not only are they providing surface area, but they also kind of have this spirally thing going, which allows the chyme, that food juice mixture, to kind of pass through the small intestines, kind of spiraling its way through the lumen of the small intestine, allowing for very slow, methodical nutrient absorption. And then on those folds, you have more folds. These little tiny folds are called villi, and here you can see an up close of the villi, an individual villus. And these are finger-like projections. They have a dense capillary bed inside each one of them, so this allows for maximum absorption of nutrients into the blood. And so then you have each one of these villi have villi along the cellular level as well. And so here, these microvilli are actually projections of the cytoplasm in the cellular membrane. And so it goes all the way down to the really microscopic level, gives these villi kind of a brushy appearance, if that makes sense, kind of a fuzzy look to them. And each one of these microvilli contain enzymes that are there for carbohydrate and protein digestion, as well as for maximum absorption of nutrients. And so not only is absorption happening in the small intestines, but it's important to note that there are lots of enzymes in the small intestines that continue and kind of finalize that digestion process. So we'll look at that. This is just a different picture of those microvilli up close. I don't think I have another. No, so we'll just go back here real quick. So to just talk about the digestive process, mostly carbohydrates and proteins are going to have finished off digestion here, and fats are going to kind of start the digestion. Remember, in the small intestine is where the bile is going to be secreted into, up here in the duodenum. The bile, there's the bile duct and the gallbladder and all that business, putting that bile in there, and the bile is going to emulsify the fats and allow them to be digested a lot better. And so fat digestion is going to kind of finish also, along with proteins and carbohydrates, getting those things down to their basic parts. Just finally finishing taking apart all the food that you ate, and those individual nutrients will then be absorbed into the bloodstream. And this is just a microscopic image of that. Drawings are better, but this is the real thing. So I think it's pretty cool. All right. So we talked a little bit about segmentation in an earlier video, just talking about this more in a kind of a real time. So after you eat, like you eat a meal, this segmentation is what's taking place. This peristalsis is what moves things through, but segmentation is what's going on in the small intestines. This is the most common action of the small intestines. It's basically kind of pushing the food back and forth, kind of sloshing it over the villi and the microvilli and the circular folds, getting as much contact with the surface of the small intestines as possible. The small intestine has kind of an intrinsic pacemaker as well, which kind of allows for this rhythmic moving of the small intestines. Your parasympathetic nervous system, this is the kind of relaxed mode nervous system, is what increases motility. And so as you are in relaxed mode, your digestive tract is doing a lot of work. The sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, is what will absolutely shut this portion of your digestion down, because it takes a lot of blood to do this, and a lot of blood is going to the digestive tract to do absorption and whatnot. And so if you have a fight or flight response, your sympathetic nervous system will shut down digestion. So you can, I don't know if you've ever had a stomach full after you like do something intense, it can hurt your stomach. And so that's why you need to, digest when you're supposed to be digesting, I guess. And so in between meals, what happens is peristalsis will increase, and this kind of moves things through, and all the meal remnants, bacteria, debris, whatever is left over in the small intestines after all of that absorption takes place, is going to be moved into the large intestine for their final descent. And the complete trip of the food in the small intestines takes around 2 hours from the time that it empties into the digestive tract or into the small intestines from the stomach, and to the time that it goes into the large intestine, about 2 hours, give or take.